Mark?
We're good? All right.
Let's go.
You guys good?
Huh?
Okie dokie. Hello. Welcome. Season's greetings.
Merry Christmas.
I feel like we just did this.
I know. Yeah.
You did. If you want to check out our Saturday Games episode, go check it out.
Yeah, this is the Spread, NESN.com's Football Picks podcast. We will be going through some of the best games from Week 16. All of the games that will not be played on Saturday. For Saturday, make sure to check out our other episode in which we ran through all three of those games. A pretty good slate on Saturday. Also a good one on Sunday. So before we dig into that, Andre, do you want to go through the records again?
Yeah, we did it bad last week, man. Bad.
Yeah.
Week 15.
Our Christmas gift to everybody else is just fade us. Did I say that the first time too?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, fade
Well,
away.
this is our Hanukkah gift.
Well, this is 5-10-1, Mike. And Ricky, you went 6-9-1. You led the way, and I kind of led the way with you, 6-9-1.
Not a great week for us, but we're back at it. You know, the end is near. We won't have to make these picks much longer. So
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do XFL season though.
wow, that's a great idea.
You heard that somewhere before?
Yeah, you heard it in the Saturday one.
He
Which you
just
should
plays it
listen
off.
to.
He's like, yeah, no, it's just an idea I had. It's just.
Let's
do
start
it.
the game. Let's start.
All right, so we're going to run through our three best games from the Week 16 slate. We will not do any locks and upsets this week because we suck at those anyway, and basically we're going through half the slate, so it is what it is. Let's start Sunday afternoon. This is an early game, if I'm not mistaken, 1 p.m. matinee showdown in the Music City, Nashville, Tennessee. The New Orleans Saints will look to go dashing through the snow against the Tennessee Titans. The Saints come in as 3-point favorites coming off a decisive win, a history-making win Monday night against the Colts. Tennessee, meanwhile, coming off a back-breaking divisional loss to Houston, a game in which they kind of dominated but still lost. It looks like 2/3 of the public is on New Orleans here. The total set at 50.5. Weather could be an issue. We're looking at mid-40s showers, so they will
Light breeze.
Yes, a light breeze. They will be dashing through the
Marching. Saints go marching.
nasty weather. He's not having anything that's going on here.
Dashing through the
Ricky, who do you got?
You got any other verbs you want to throw out there before we get into it? I'm gonna take the Titans. I'm gonna take the points. I think this could be a week where those injuries up front for that Saints defense sort of start to bite them a little bit. Marcus Davenport being out, Sheldon Rankins,
Sure.
Kiko Alonso, I believe, is questionable, so that's a blow to their linebacking core. And I just looked 2 weeks ago, the 49ers ran for 162 yards, averaging 6.8 yards per carry. Now they get a matchup against Derrick Henry. Among 41 running backs with at least 100 rush attempts, Henry's first in yards after per contact per rush. Yards per contact out. Per contact after contact. Yards after contact per rush attempt.
Well said. Oh my God!
So going up against a unit on the New Orleans side that's going to have a couple backups in there, I could see him, establishing the run early, which has been sort of a staple of this Tennessee, well, not winning streak now, but just this run they've been on really since Ryan Tannehill's been on the center. Maybe opens up the play action a bit. A.J. Brown's been a revelation for that offense. So I think this line's a little bit of a, maybe an overreaction to that win that everybody was drooling all over against the Indianapolis Colts in Tennessee's loss last week. I will say, though, we did swing and miss on the Titans. We were all over them last week.
And so they threw that interception, that kind of fluky interception Tannehill did that got deflected at the goal line.
Tannehill played pretty well.
If they score there, I think it's a completely different game because they got back into that game. It's just, they marched all the way down the field and then ended up that swung the field position 100 yards almost. So.
We sat here last week and talked about the strides they've made offensively.
Yeah.
And it's just I guess there was nothing from that game that leads me to believe that the prior to that was a fluke.
I don't think it's a fluke either. I'm taking the Titans.
Good point, yeah.
The Titans, again, 6.9 yards per play in the last 7 games. That's number one by a large margin. Their offense is the best in the league right now in the last 7 games. And their yards per play differential in the last 7 weeks is very similar to the Saints. Tennessee's is, they're both over 1. They're both really good. And so you're getting Titans at home getting points give me that. I like that a lot, especially you talk about Derrick Henry. I think he's going to go off with 685 yards, 7 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Ryan Tannehill continues to play well, and I don't know if this is still the number, but when I checked this on Tuesday, the public had 72% on the Saints. So that's a big overreaction to that Monday night game, and the Titans lost on Sunday, which they did play well in. So I'm going to fade the public, go with the Titans, take the points at home.
Sure. Yeah, I'm also going to take the Titans, make it a sweep, which is wild, but I don't have a whole lot to add other than what you guys said. I think it's interesting that only the Packers have a bigger home road yards per play differential than New Orleans. The Saints are like almost a yard and a half worse on the road than they are at home. Interestingly enough, though, since the start of 2017, they are 8-3 straight up and 8-3 against the spread on grass. So that's I was surprised to see that. But the under plays pretty well, 4-7 in those games. So maybe this is going to be a lower scoring game than we expect. I also think it's interesting that Derrick Henry, since Ryan Tannehill took over, or at least the week after Ryan Tannehill took over, not counting the Denver game. So it's 8 games. He's averaging 5.8 yards per carry over that stretch, which is just things are just kind of opened up for that offense, and it's starting to click. So there's a lot to like about the Titans' offense, and really a lot of this, as you guys kind of have mentioned, comes down to overreaction and/or trying to be on the other side of the public when I think everybody is going to be all over the Saints.
Yeah. Need it too. You know what I mean? Like this is the game you need.
Yep.
If you're Tennessee,
right? Yeah, that's true.
Into the playoffs,
they need it more than the Saints do, and they're at home. I think that yards per play differential, home road split. That's a great stat. Yeah. I think that's the stat of the show so far.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's early.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's go to the second game.
Sunday afternoon, late afternoon, 4:25 p.m. This game takes place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where they throw snowballs at Santa Claus. We have the Eagles hosting the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys 1.5-point favorites here. Looks like this is kind of surprising. 2/3 of the bets coming in on Dallas. That can't be right. That kind of tells you where I'm leading. And the total set at 46.5. Andre, who do you like?
So this is going to be a cool game because my friend Mike Eamon, who works at Nesson with us, he's going to be in Atlantic City on Saturday night. So I said, hey, I'll stop by before I go to LA. I want to see Atlantic City. And then Philly's 45 minutes away. So I'm going to drive to the tailgate and have a good tailgate at Philadelphia. I'm just driving. I'm not going to the game. I'm not going to the game. Tailgate. I want to see the Philly tailgate. And we're Dallas Cowboys.
Probably be doing laundry, groceries.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, that's my Sunday.
I'm just excited to see a Philadelphia tailgate and see how angry the fans
are.
So,
are you picking them?
I'm going to pick the Cowboys because I just spent 10 minutes talking about how everyone's overreacting to the Monday night game with the Saints. I guess I'm going to overreact for the Cowboys win over the Rams. But I do think that the Eagles' pass coverage isn't that good. Pass defense isn't good. They're 23rd in coverage on Pro Football Focus. I think Dallas will be able to expose them like they did in their first meeting. They're averaging 8.3 yards per pass attempt, the best in the league. And the Cowboys' offensive line, they've allowed the fewest sacks. So I think they'll mitigate any sort of pass rush the Eagles have in this game. Ezekiel Elliott, he went off for 111 yards in that first meeting. Eagles' rush defense, I think, is a little overrated. They do well against bad running backs. When it comes to guys like Zeke, they don't do so well. Take the Cowboys. Maybe I'm overreacting. I don't know.
To that point, Zeke averaging 114.8 rushing yards in 5 career games against the Eagles, in addition to 31 catches for 241 yards. So he has a track record against this team. It is kind of amazing to see how much the advanced metrics like the Cowboys this season relative to their 7-7 record. Football Outsiders, according to their DVOA, has them as the number 2 ranked offense in the NFL behind the Ravens. So it's one of those things where you watch them, and I don't necessarily think they're the second best offense in the game, but that's what the numbers say. Pro Football has them as the number 3 overall offense behind the Ravens and the Saints. So I mean, there's a lot there to suggest that they are head and shoulders above the Eagles in terms of both talent and just overall production this season. So I just feel like picking the Eagles requires a little bit of a leap of faith towards the Cowboys choking. I also don't know about trusting that Eagles offense, given the personnel issues they have right now. I mean, week to week, you don't know who Carson Wentz is throwing the ball to. So I'm going to take the Cowboys, with the line of thinking that it's just a far better team. And maybe they choke as they typically do at some point. But I expect that to happen in the playoffs. This week.
I mean, I'm going to take the Eagles because we're two picks into this, and nobody's mentioned the biggest thing of this Dak Prescott. When it comes to pass defense this year, Philly has been what the French call les incompetents. But the Dak injury, I think, is huge.
Incompetent.
Yes.
Okay.
He has no idea. It's so funny.
I don't know what you were saying.
I think this week.
Why did you say that in French?
I'll explain it to you
Is
later.
it a movie?
Yeah.
What movie?
Home Alone.
Oh. Which one?
The first one. They go to France. They leave him at home.
You might want to go back and watch the Saturday.
I haven't seen Home Alone.
No, not just Home Alone. You can watch Home Alone. But watch the Saturday episode.
Go watch Home Alone, then Home Alone 2. All right?
And then watch the Saturday.
And then watch the Saturday episode and this episode. It'll make a lot more sense. But I do think that there's Dak's got a shoulder injury. Yeah, he says he's going to play. Yeah, of course he's going to say he's good to go on Sunday. I thought this was interesting, and this goes against my skepticism when it comes to internet Twitter doctors, but I will go with it anyway. Dr. David Chow at ProFootballDoc on Twitter says, I quote, "I am not saying Prescott will not play versus the Eagles. However, the swelling doesn't go away. He may indeed miss Week 16 or play, but have his ability to throw the ball downfield severely hindered." I think that's something to, if they can't get that deep passing game going, it allows Philly to kind of key in on the run and make them. This feels like if that shoulder is bad, and I'm taking a risk in saying that it is, if they kind of just take out the fact that they're not going to be able to go downfield on him, it kind of allows them to get a little tighter on their coverage, put a few more guys in the box, and try to stop Elliott. Philly's pass rush is middle of the pack, but they are third in QB knockdown. So if they're hitting Prescott and kind of knocking him around and kind of making him even more uncomfortable, perhaps that hurts the shoulder a little bit more. I think it's one of those ones where they're going to try to kind of be like Buzz McAllister when with Kevin going through his stuff, and they're going to come out and try to pound him. So I think that's something to keep in mind. I think they're going to try to hit him every chance they get. And I do think this is an all-time revenge spot for Philly. Week 7 they played in Dallas. They got smoked. Was it 37-10?
Yep.
A lot on the line here. I mean, this is basically for the division. So they've got I think they're in a spot here where they're going to be seeking a ton of revenge. Also in that game, they lost 3 fumbles. That's almost bordering on unlucky. So I think that gets turned around here. I agree with Ricky. I don't love the Eagles offense, but they show signs of life from time to time, against bad teams admittedly, but I don't know. I
think you're really disrespecting Cooper Rush.
Yeah.
His ability to step in.
Well, I'm just hoping. I was saying, I hope if for some reason they have to dress an emergency third quarterback or something, or if heaven forbid Prescott can't go, that they suit up Kellen Moore and make him the backup quarterback / offensive coordinator. I think that'd be great.
Cutting out the middleman if nothing.
Yeah,
else,
right. Exactly. So. What?
I'm just excited about all the games.
It was just a groan of excitement.
I don't know what
I'm in there.
Sorry, let's go to the last game.
All right, Monday night.
I'm very hungry.
Is this the best Monday Night Football game of the year? It might be.
But it's going to be the best Monday Night Football game until Booger McFarland has to open his mouth.
That's true.
And then it's
Good
going to
point.
be just another game.
So basically, well, actually this is not basically, because the Packers are probably going to win the NFC North regardless of what happens in this game, if my math is correct. But the Packers go to Minnesota to take on the Vikings. Vikings currently 5.5-point favorites. They're coming off of would they take the ball away 7 times last week against the Chargers? Meanwhile, the Packers coming off a win at home against the Bears. Vikings 5.5-point favorites. Ricky, what do you like?
This game gave me fits of the 6 that we've broken down this weekend. So I'm just going to take the points, and a lot of it's just that. Well, one, the Dalvin Cook injury, the fact that he's unlikely to play, really takes away what I think was one of the biggest advantages that Minnesota had going into this game, their ability to run the football against Green Bay.
Yeah.
There's also, the Kirk Cousins factor of, I don't want to get too much into his record against teams with winning records and the whole primetime narrative, but it is I would say a significant quarterback advantage when it comes to just track record in these big spots. And Minnesota, for all of its strengths on defense, we've talked about them several times throughout the course of the season. They probably should be even better than they are. They just have talent really at all three levels. Their cornerbacks have not been good this year. So I could see a scenario where Aaron Rodgers makes a big deep throw to at least keep this within the numbers. So I will take the points here. I don't feel great about it. I'd probably stay away from this game in general, but I'll just take Green Bay and expect this to come down to a field goal or so.
People always say, how are the Packers so good?
They're a tough team to figure out this year.
Well, they don't turn the ball over.
That's what I'm getting to. They don't turn the ball over. They're second in turnover differential, and they have 9 giveaways this year. The only team with fewer are the Saints. And I think that's a big key, especially in this game where you said Dalvin Cook is out. He's not, or most likely he's not going to play. I think that's a big deal because the Vikings really need to get the run going in order to win ball games. This year, when they get 100 or more rushing yards, they are 9-1. When they get fewer than 100 rushing yards, they're 1-3. And that only loss when they went over 100 rushing yards was against the Green Bay Packers. And they had 4 turnovers in that game. Packers won the turnover battle. So now you take away that running element, and you're still probably going to lose the turnover battle because that's what Aaron Rodgers doesn't do, is he doesn't turn the ball over. And it's just a bad situation for bad situation. Especially Packers getting 5.5 points. Jesus Christ. I think this is the easiest slam dunk bet of the week. I like the Packers in this one.
I think there's a chance the Packers get smoked.
Oh,
I'm taking the Vikings.
Why?
You look at the.
I didn't even talk about the Kirk Cousins thing. You kind of talked about it, but I didn't talk about it.
The Packers, I will say, they're very much like Marv and Harry. Like when they have to go into someone else's house, they usually get their heads kicked in.
Everything you're saying is a Home Alone reference.
Yeah, there's going to be. I mean, they might get smashed in the face in the iron. They might take a paint can to the head. One of those big poles comes down, smokes it. I mean, that's going to be Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is going to be dodging Matchbox cars, and he's going to have to check every door handle because you look at the Packers. What are their worst losses this year? They had the one in Los Angeles
when they would rage in California before their game.
Yeah, that was a bad idea. But they stink in California. They do have that going for them. This game is not in California; it's in Minnesota. But you look at the Chargers game, especially, and the 49ers game. Right? I mean, they only have 3 losses. The other one was at home against Philly. But Chargers and 49ers, 2 teams where they had to go on the road and face good pass rushes. I don't think the Vikings have as good of a pass rush as the 49ers or the Chargers, but the Packers have struggled. Only the Jets and the Seahawks have a higher home road sacks allowed percentage difference than the Packers. Like the Packers, they don't protect Aaron Rodgers as well on the road as they do at home, which is normal. And I talked about this earlier with the Saints. Only the Packers have a worse home road yards per play differential, or only the Saints, right? Yes, only the Packers. Packers have the worst home road yards per play differential than the Saints. I just think too, this is a game the Vikings need really badly. This is their house; they have to defend it. Kirk Cousins can't be a wimp; he has to be the man of the house, and I think he kind of takes advantage here and puts up a good game against a Packers defense that has looked flimsy at times. As long as they can get either Cook or Madison back, I think the Vikings should be able to run on them as well. But I think a lot of this comes down to the Vikings defense, that pass rush especially. They make life miserable for the Packers.
You're making really good points, and I may change my pick. I might.
I just think it's going to be this, and again, as Ricky alluded to, I watch a lot of Packers football. This feels like one of those games where it just is a frustrating night all night for them, and they're never really in sync offensively. And that's one issue I have with LaFleur and what he's done with that offense and that team in general is when they get punched in the mouth early, they tend to kind of go away. I mean, which maybe can be disproved by how successful they've been in just ugly games this year, but you can tell pretty early when they don't have it going on.
I'll tell you something about the Vikings. They're undefeated at home this year. This is why
they haven't looked like dominant.
Their only game they haven't looked dominant. Their average margin of victory is 13.5 points at home this year.
What about they lost? They almost lost to Denver.
And that was the game when they.
Was that the only one that they've?
That was the only team that gave them a hard time at home. That's why I'm kind of considering changing my pick, especially all the points you brought. And they have a +7 turnover differential at home as well. You know what? I'm going to do it.
Oh, wow.
Vikings at home, 5.5 points. I'm going to take that.
Finishing the air to good old pick switch.
Yeah, Yeah.
That was wild.
I was very confident in the Packers too.
So I will
You said
say,
you went from calling it the slam dunk bet of the week.
I was very confident in that. Yes, you brought up some good points, and then coupled with the fact that they're at home and they're so dominant at home. Look, you give me good information, I'm going to change my pick.
All right.
If I'm looking at houses in in an area that I think it's a nice area, and it's a beautiful house, and then you come and tell me, oh, there's 6 shootings on this street in the last year, I'm gonna not buy that house.
There you go.
I will say those numbers are probably skewed a little bit too, because the last 3 games at home, they beat the Vikings by 10, the Broncos by 4.
Vikings beat who by 10?
The Redskins. Did I say the Vikings?
Yeah.
They beat the Redskins by 10, the Broncos by 4, and the Lions by 13. So now I'm getting them back.
Yeah,
exactly.
You can convince you
They crushed the Chargers, so I lied.
Can't triple stamp, double stamp. Can't triple stamp, double stamp.
They crushed the Chargers 39-10. That was a road game, but every road game at the Chargers Stadium is a home game for the opposing team, so that should count too. And they had 7 turnovers in that game.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, that is unprecedented stuff. Wow. It's the season of giving. I just gave you a. I hope I'm wrong now. That would actually be the best case scenario for me. The Packers win this game, and you get your pick wrong after changing it on the fly.
Then you would get your pick wrong.
I don't give a. I don't give a hoot. Yes. So.
All right, that's it.
Let's go eat.
All right. Yeah, we will not be back next week for Week 17.
I should have worn my Santa hat.
I thought, it's just Christmas as it usually does, especially as you get older. Sneaks up on you. Yeah. So anyway,
I can't believe the season's over. It's nuts.
We'll have the playoffs.
I know, but like
the playoffs are fun too for the spread, especially because you can zero in on the games. You really dig into it. You got a full data.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
really full data.
Alrighty. So
by the way, a lot of bad games this week. I
watered down. Sunday
looking at for our picks column, which will be on. When's it going to be on? Tomorrow?
I guess Friday. Friday.
Friday. Yeah. So I was doing them yesterday. Bengals, Dolphins. You got the Falcons, Jaguars, Giants, Redskins,
Jaguars.
Lions, Broncos.
What's he talking like?
It's just bad.
This would have been a good week for a hat pick. That's for sure.
Well, we stretched it out. It worked out well. We did pick by far the best 6 games.
Who did you take, Bengals and Dolphins? It's at Miami.
Probably
spread on that.
Bengals.
It's a bonus pick for the crowd.
I'm going to take the Dolphins.
Everybody keeps saying, I mentioned this on the NESN.com NFL Power Rankings this week, like nobody's been higher, nobody's gotten more love undeservedly than the Dolphins this year, just because they've been competitive every once in a while. And Brian Flores has done a terrific job with them, but they still suck. I don't think that's...
No, they're terrible.
So
do
the Bengals.
The Bengals suck.
Yeah, I think the Bengals are going to shred them this week.
Bengals went punch for punch with the Patriots for a quarter and a half-ish. Then it got ugly. Andy Dalton stinks, though. That's something to keep in mind.
He's bad.
Yeah. Ryan
But this is a week where he'll throw for 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, probably.
You know who really stinks? Who's going to stink in the NFL is Joe Burrow. That's my pull.
He's going to stink?
Yeah.
I don't know, what
quarterbacks from big powerhouse schools are always overhyped. Joe Burrow has so much talent around this team on offense and defense.
I literally have not read or heard one person say anything other than Joe Burrow is like a can't miss talent. So you're fading the public and people who study the tape and stuff.
It's a nice picture.
It is a great picture. I didn't take this. You asked me that last time. You like that. So. Anyway, let's get out of here. Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. We'll see you again in a couple weeks. You got that one. Yeah. Bye-bye.
That was fun. That was a good show.
They're just whizzing around.